What happens when professional wrestling crosses that razor-sharp line between scripted entertainment and raw reality, when a single moment inside the ring ignites a firestorm that refuses to burn out, threatening to change WWE forever? On September 1st, 2025, during WWE Raw in Paris, Becky Lynch did not simply slap CM Punk. She struck at loyalty, at the meaning of family, at the sacred idea of respect, and in doing so, she triggered an eruption that now has fans, insiders, and even former superstars wondering if this is the most pivotal moment of the modern era. What makes it even more shocking is that for the first time in almost 10 years, AJ Lee, April Jeanette Mendez, broke her silence, and when she did, the wrestling world stopped to listen, because her words weren't calculated lines from a script. They were a warning, a challenge, and a declaration of war. Before we dive into the explosive fallout, smash that like button, subscribe to Pink Sport, and ring the notification bell, because what you're about to hear is the kind of backstage drama and frontstage chaos WWE never wants the world to see, but can no longer contain. Rewind back to August 31st, 2025 at Clash in Paris. The scene was nothing short of electric. The fatal four-way for Seth Rollins' World Heavyweight Championship had the fans on their feet. The stakes were through the roof, and CM Punk was seconds away from putting Rollins to sleep with the GTS and cementing his legacy once more, when suddenly a hooded figure stormed the ring. The entire arena held its breath, the hood dropped, and it was Becky Lynch, the reigning Intercontinental Women's Champion and Rollins' wife, who without hesitation struck Punk with a devastating low blow, crushing his chance at victory and allowing Rollins to retain the title. The Paris crowd went ballistic, a storm of cheers, jeers, and deafening chants, not for Becky, not for Seth, but for one woman who hadn't set foot in a WWE ring since 2015, AJ Lee. The people smelled blood, they smelled betrayal, they sensed something far bigger than a simple interference, and in that moment they demanded AJ's return, chanting her name until the sound of it became louder than anything else in the building. The following night on Raw, CM Punk hit the ring, furious, seething, demanding Rollins face him like a man, but instead Becky appeared with that trademark arrogance and the smirk of someone who knew she had just changed the game. The crowd erupted in chants of AJ Lee, louder, more forceful, relentless, until Becky snapped back with venom, dismissing their chants with the icy line that they were always cheering for a woman who doesn't even work there. And then she escalated the insult by slapping Punk across the face again and again, multiple strikes, each one echoing through the Paris arena and through social media timelines around the world. Punk, ever the restrained yet boiling storm, refused to retaliate, but swore on the microphone that Becky would regret ever putting her hands on him. This was no longer a storyline. This was an open wound being exploited live on television, a personal humiliation that blurred the line between kayfabe and real life, a moment dripping with such raw intensity that the entire fanbase could feel it in their bones. Social media exploded. X posts, Instagram reels, Reddit threads, all asking the same question: was this the spark that would drag AJ Lee back into the spotlight? For nearly 48 hours, silence. No word from AJ, no response. Just speculation and anticipation until September 2nd, 2025, when she broke that silence and unleashed a statement that set the industry ablaze. In a fiery Instagram post, she declared that Paris was not simply a wrestling match, it was a personal attack, that Becky Lynch had not just struck CM Punk but had disrespected their family, that Seth Rollins may have walked away with his championship intact, but in doing so, he had lost something far more valuable: respect. That statement cut like a blade because it was not delivered by AJ the character. It was delivered by April Mendez, the woman herself, speaking with the passion of a wife, the fury of a competitor, and the gravitas of a legend who still commands an audience even after 10 years away. She did not just defend Punk, she reframed the entire narrative. She made this feud about family, loyalty, honor, and respect, and when AJ Lee speaks, the entire wrestling world listens. What makes it even more compelling is the history behind her. From 2009 to 2015, AJ Lee redefined what it meant to be a female superstar in WWE. A three-time Divas champion, A record setter, a performer with mic skills and charisma that carried entire storylines. She was unpredictable, magnetic, and unforgettable. Her retirement in 2015, spurred by injury and by the fallout of Punk's own acrimonious departure, left fans heartbroken, and yet they never stopped chanting her name. For a decade, speculation about her return never faded, and now, Becky's slap and Seth's arrogance have dragged her right back into the conversation. Sean Ross Sapp and Fightful Select have confirmed that AJ Lee's name has been pitched internally for months, and Punk's cryptic words on Raw about home sweet home, as SmackDown prepares to land in Chicago, their hometown, feels like a flashing neon sign that the return is closer than ever. Imagine the explosion if she appears in Chicago. The roof would come off the arena, the internet would collapse under the weight of hashtags, and the story would immediately become the biggest in years. But what if this is not just about AJ returning to wrestle? What if this is a calculated slow burn, a carefully orchestrated storyline leading to WrestlePalooza, where the ultimate payoff awaits? Fans are already convinced this is building toward a blockbuster mixed tag team match, CM Punk and AJ Lee versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. Think about the magnitude. Two real-life couples, two stories intertwined for over a decade, with personal history, professional grudges, and emotional stakes layered into every move, every promo, every stare down. It would not just be a match, it would be a reckoning, a once-in-a-generation confrontation that could headline any pay-per-view on sheer emotional gravity alone. Yet WWE loves its curveballs, and some believe AJ might not return to the ring at all, that perhaps she will appear as Punk's manager, his strategist, or even as a special guest referee. But fans don't want half measures. They want her in the ring, lacing up her boots, standing beside Punk and facing Seth and Becky head-on. And the fan demand is undeniable. The hashtags #BringBackAJ and #AJReturns are trending. Signs are showing up in every arena, and one in Paris reading "Bring Back AJ" was said to have drawn a glare from Rollins himself. Reddit forums are overflowing with speculation, fantasy booking, and emotional pleas. This isn't nostalgia, this is passion, and the WWE Universe is telling the company what they want in no uncertain terms. AJ's statement only amplified it, turning a storyline into a cultural movement, transforming Becky's slap from a heel tactic into the spark that might bring back one of the most beloved figures in wrestling history. Let's not forget the obstacles. AJ's retirement was due to a cervical spine injury, and questions remain about whether she could be medically cleared. But medical advancements, strict WWE wellness policies, and the fact that AJ herself did not close the door on a return in her statement leave that possibility wide open. Even if she cannot return full-time, a 1-in.